There are tons of stories of people who got involved in the Ashtabula Arts Center in their younger days and thanks to their training went on to great careers in the arts all over the world. Well, here's a story that is twice as big because it's about twin sisters who grew up at the Ashtabula Arts Center who are enjoying hectic but fulfilling careers in the world of live theater. Jennifer and Nicole Giangola started in plays at the Arts Center. First as the Lost Boys in Peter Pan, they were twin French poodles in 101 Dalmatians. They were Siamese twins in Charlotte's Web. From sixth grade on, they were in countless shows. They took voice lessons. They took lessons on instruments. Each year they attended Arts Center summer camps until they became too old. Then they helped teach and coordinate summer camps. They went off to separate colleges for a while, but graduated together from Ohio Northern University. Jennifer has been working in wardrobe at Goodman Theater in Chicago. She also works at a small craft shop in a Chicago suburb, making hats for not only Hamilton on Broadway, but for its Puerto Rican and Chicago tours. Nicole worked in wardrobe for the Fourth Network's national tour of The Sound of Music, going to cities all over the country and hiring 11 assistants in each city to help with wardrobes, training them on the spot. She also did wardrobes for shows on the Disney Cruiselines. Recently, they found themselves together again in Chicago. Originally, they both wanted to be actors. Learning off-stage work at the Arts Center helped them decide theater was for them professionally, but not acting.
I know for me, I always thought, oh, if I wanted to do theater professionally, it would have to be acting. And then when we were freshmen in high school, and we took a stage management class here on how to be a stage manager for the stage. And I remember we took a dance class right after with Kim Godfrey, who she's now the theater coordinator here, but at the time she was just a director. And I remember we were always really close, and I said, "Hey Kim, I'm taking a stage management class. What do you think? Do you think I can stage manage for her?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, sure." So I stage managed Forbidden Broadway on the GB stage when I was a freshman in high school, and I loved it. And then we started doing the tech crew backstage for shows, and we still were on stage, but we would also do the off stage portion as well. And I remember one of the actors in the show said, "You're really good at stage managing." She's like, you could do that professionally." I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. So then when we looked at schools for college, I was like, well, I'm gonna go into technical theater, and that's what we ended up doing.
Yeah, it took me a little longer to get to that point because I started at one school for graphic design. I was going to do graphic design major with a minor in ceramics, most random minor ever. And then I started getting involved in the theater program because they're like, well, we'll pay you to sew costumes and to like upkeep the stock at the theater. I'm like, absolutely. I've never sewn before in my life, but I would love to learn. And then I started auditioning for shows, and I did a show there, and then I switched my major halfway through my freshman year and became a theater BFA. And then I realized that I didn't want to act anymore, and I just wanted to do costumes. So I transferred to Ohio Northern University, where Nicole was at for technical theater, and we both ended up graduating from there with a BFA in international theater production.
So you didn't start out at the same school?
No, when we first left for college, I was
You
at.
were just sick of each other?
We had done everything together. We figured it was time to try something apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Ohio Northern University, and Jen went to Marietta College. So we were both.
But you ended up at the same college.
Mm-hmm, we did.
Now this is was repeated then when you started your professions, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were doing you were doing cruises?
I didn't start out doing cruises, but I did end up on a cruise. Right after college, I went to Rhode Island, and I did an internship at a theater there.
Mm-hmm.
And then come fall, I got my first job. And I did did that, and then I moved to another show. I did 3 seasons with the V-Star Entertainment Company, and then I left that to work for Disney Cruiselines, and I worked with them for a couple months, and then
Did you like make Mickey Mouse costumes? Or?
I helped make sure Mickey was ready for all the magic.
Whoa!
Yeah, I was their cosmetologist, costume technician, so I primarily took care of any wigs that were on the ship, but then I would also...
Wigs, did you say?
Wigs.
Okay.
Yeah, I would take care of all the princesses' hair and make sure all of them were ready for the shows. And then...
So you both ended up doing theatrical head stuff, right?
Yes.
I mostly just put clothes on people.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
she's better at the hair.
But you did the hats, so that's why I said...
Yeah, I do make hats. They're fun.
Yeah, we both primarily do wardrobe, the maintaining of costumes and dressing people. But we both kind of have our specialties. Jen is more of a stitcher crafts person as well, and I'm mostly wigs outside of wardrobe.
So how did you guys end up in the same place in Chicago?
Well, I've been on the road for 3 years, and I thought I'm tired of living out of a suitcase.
I bet.
So it worked out that Jen's lease was up about the same time that my tour was ending. So we just found an apartment together, and I moved.
And you said, my sister's sponging off me right now, so you gotta find her a job with us or something?
They have a lot of overhire work at the Goodman for wardrobe, which is what I do. And we keep losing our wig people because they'll do a show and then they'll move to a tour or something like that. And so we don't have a permanent wig person right now. So when they were talking about doing Music Man this summer with a ton of wigs, I'm like, hey, my sister's looking at moving to Chicago. If you guys are interested, she's the head of wardrobe on Sound of Music, and she was the wig technician on the Disney Cruiselines. You should talk to her. And so she emailed the head of wardrobe or the costume shop manager at the Goodman. It's like, I'm interested in this show. If you have an opening, I'd love to talk to you. And she interviewed and she got it.
So are you there, both of you there for every performance every night that they have them? So that's got to be kind of exciting, right? Because I mean, I don't know, you get a little rush as the stage.
Oh yeah.
Is the curtains open and all?
Yeah, it also depends on the show. Like, I just got done doing a show at the Goodman called The Winter's Tale. It's a Shakespeare, I don't know if it's classified as a comedy or a tragedy, but it's one of the weirder ones. And I was responsible for dressing a bear. Like, I got a man into a bear puppet costume every night. And it took us 10 minutes to get him in. We had to get him out in 2, and that was my job, is to get him dressed and then maintain the bear puppet as much as possible. And it was so much fun. A couple nights, we would have a few issues getting him in, and we're like, are we gonna make this? Are we gonna make our entrance? And that is always fun.
Yeah.
But it was still a 10-minute change, so it was pretty low stakes.
Yeah, you had some time, but...
Yeah, but there are some shows that we do, we have like a minute to do a full change. One of my first wardrobe jobs outside of college was being the personal dresser to George M. for the production of George M. at the College Light Opera Company. And he went from one full suit to another full suit to another full suit, and he had like a minute to do this. So we got really, really good at the suit changes.
Oh my gosh.
You got 3-piece suits and you got a minute.
Yeah.
And you can't have the tie looking like this.
Right, he had to look pristine because he was a showman. So like, he had to look amazing.
Yeah. Some of the changes in Sound of Music were about 30-45 seconds. So there's you do some crazy things.
You gotta be more organized than I am.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have paperwork always in my pocket that has like the list of all of the pieces that I'm responsible for, and I do have to use it every night because I'm always paranoid that I'm going to forget something.
For sure.
So, there's a lot of people at the Art Center. I've talked to some that they want to go, further when they get out of school or whatever. So it's very doable, isn't it?
It's very doable.
It is. You just have to be very motivated. You know, you can't. We know a lot of people who kind of wait for things to fall into their lap.
That's not going to happen.
They wait for someone to call them. It doesn't happen like that. You know, you have to really try, really keep putting your name out there. Jen and I send our resumes out all the time.
I have to look for a new job every 2 months, so I'm always. I've got business cards in my backpack at all times. I'm constantly networking with people, and if you want to do it, you will make it happen. And it's hard. We've both been working consistently for 3 years though outside of college, so it's definitely doable. You just have to have the drive for it.
Yeah.
I did an interview with a person from Conneaut that did wardrobe for television programs, and she was constantly, the show would end, she did True Blood and the series ends, and I said, aren't you ever nervous, like there's only so much time left and you're going to be out of a job? No, she never had any.
Yeah.
But I suppose if you're good and you have a reputation and you know enough people, you just kind of jump from one job to another.
Yeah, you just always have to be looking. Like even, I've been on tours that last, anywhere from 6 to 9 months. And, even when I'm working consistently for months on end, I'm always sending my resume out to people, just to keep my name out there. I always keep my name in with all the touring companies that I've worked with in the past, just so that they remember me. So when I'm, if I end up deciding I don't want to stay in Chicago, they remember me, so that I can be like, hey, I'm ready to go back on the road. Do you have anything that I could maybe jump on? So.
But if you're going to be having an apartment lease anywhere, Chicago's a good town to do that, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff happening in Chicago.
Well, there's so many different types of things that are happening. Like we have so many different dance houses that you can work on. There's opera to do. There's storefront theater. So if you just want like a weekend gig and you just want to do like something low stakes and more like community theater in the art center, there's that. I work at one of the most high-end regional theaters, and it's such a blessing to have that connection. But like we were talking earlier, Nicole is part of the union for wardrobe, so she can work on like the big Broadway touring shows that come through too. Like there's so many different types of work to be done there.
Yeah, so anyone who wants to do theater, they can. They just have to have the drive to do it. They have to be ready to work and ready to work very hard and constantly.
But that can be for a lot of things, right?
Right,
So
it's for any job, really. But it's definitely doable. You get a lot of people who are like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? When we were getting ready to graduate high school, people would ask us where we were going to school, what we were doing. We had a lot of people who were like, oh, well, are you sure that's what you want to do? Are you sure that that's what you want to, spend your time in college doing? And the answer was always yes, absolutely. There was never a doubt in my mind that this wasn't what I wanted to do.
And it's got to be different every day.
Always. Yeah, it might be the same show you've been doing for a month and a half, but it's always different. Always.
Are there any good stories about like something happening where an actor gives the wrong line and ends up in Act 2 from Act 1 or anything?
Well, when I was working on the Disney Dream, which is one of their cruise lines, we were doing their show Believe, which is it's a show about a father who doesn't spend a lot of time with his daughter, and then the genie from Aladdin shows up and shows him that really you should spend time with your daughter. It's a very, very cute show. All the princesses are there, all of the all of the characters, Mickey, Minnie, all of them. But there was one night that one of our princesses wasn't feeling well, and I was getting ready to help her do one of her quick changes to get her on, and they have those, Cinderella's dress is a huge ball gown, all of that, and she wasn't feeling well, so in the middle of the show, she came up to me and said, Nicole, I'm not going to be able to go on. She's like, I've already talked to, the stage manager and I'm out for the show. Well, the show's happening. The show's going on, and I've already got her ball gown ready to get Cinderella into her dress, and so they're like, oh, well, we're gonna have to put another princess in. So they tell me, I think they put Belle on instead. So I had to go help Belle make sure her hair was right, and then I had to go get her ball gown out from the storage. I was running through the backstage holding this giant ball gown, like pushing.
Knocking over people in the way.
I think I ran right into Lumiere, and I'm like, please move, and I'm carrying Belle's big ball gown, and then I laid it out, I got it set up, I had her shoes ready. I had the thing set up so fast that when our Belle came around the corner, she was like, oh, you're ready. And I'm like, absolutely, let's do this. And I had her all ready to go, and Belle looked as gorgeous as ever.
All right.
She was ready to go on. But sometimes you just have to be ready for those things because they can happen at any time.
I think the most exciting thing is I've sent people out with gaff tape on their costumes because they break them.
Oh, I've done that.
Is that like the punishment?
No,
you broke it, so now you're gonna have to. That's your shame.
The show that I just finished with the Goodman, we just kept having shoes butts. Like they just kept breaking. They were dress shoes, and the sides of them would just fall apart, and we're like, what is happening? So one time, one of my actors was literally about to enter the stage, and he comes up to me. He's like, Jen, my shoe's falling apart. I'm like, how long you have until your entrance? He's like, 40 seconds? Great, stay right there. And I run back, I got a roll of black gaff tape, and I just tape his shoe together. I'm like, that's all I got.
Nobody noticed.
I mean, luckily there was a bunch of pink confetti around, so it just kind of stuck to the tape, so it just looked like his shoes were very sticky. And so you couldn't tell that they were taped or falling apart.
Thank you very much. You're going back Saturday to Chicago.
And then we'll start Tech for the Music Man, directed by Mary Zimmerman, next week at the Goodman.
So there's always people going to Chicago from here, so.
Yeah.
So how long is it going to be there?
Music Man will be there mid-August.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mid-August.
Yeah.
But get your tickets soon because it's selling out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tickets are going fast.
Can you guys sing something from the Music Man?
Absolutely not.
All right, well, I thank you very much. Jennifer and Nicole Giangola, thank you very much.